Nigeria hasn't always justified the faith of its people, but there comes a time when you are pushed to the wall and there's nowhere to go but up.
If we just decide in our hearts that we want to believe in Nigeria and we want to take steps every day to make this country a better place.
This is our dream, and a new Nigeria is that dream that we so much seek and desire.
The destiny of Nigeria is in our hands. We are the country. The country is us.
We are Nigeria.
We are that turning point generation. We are Nigeria. We are the future.
We are the future. We are the dream. We are the nation. We are part of this. Yes, we are so amazing. That's the least we shall be. At the heart of the nation, changing history. How can they say that we are finished? We have just begun. When we have nowhere else to run to, we have nowhere else to go. So get out of the way of the land of our dreams. We are the nation, we are part of this. Oh, oh. We are the nation, we are part of this. Whoa, carry the song, carry the sound. The future is here. The future is here. Goodbye yesterday, tomorrow is now for the taking. The future is here. The future is here. I am the future. I am the future. I am the dream. Whoa, I am the nation. I am part of this. Yes, I am so amazing. That's the least I shall be. The least I shall be. At the heart of the nation, changing history. How can they say that we are finished? We have just begun. When we have nowhere else to run, nowhere else to run to, nowhere else to go. So hey, out of the land of my dreams. Oh, I am the nation. I am part of this. So get out of the way of the land of my dreams. I am the nation, I am part of this. Whoa, carry the song, carry the sound. The future is here. The future is here. Goodbye yesterday, tomorrow is now for the taking. The future is here. The future is here. Raise your hands in the air if you believe the future has come now. The future is here. The future is here. This is our dream. The future is here. The future has come.
The future is not a time zone that is yet to come. The future is everything that we can be but have not yet become. The future is everything that we can do but have not yet done. The future is here. The future is now. So go ahead and deliver the future, because you can, because you must. And together we will.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I always have this strange experience. Hello, ma'am. This strange experience about how to remove. Yeah, I knew there was something that shouldn't be there. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I'm excited to be back here tonight. Let me do some tech stuff. Hello, Instagram, Clove Kids, Grandma Queen, Vanny Kitchen. Good evening. And every one of you joining in from on YouTube and on Facebook. I'm excited to welcome you here tonight, all right? Good evening. Welcome to Raising Girls Weekly, 5th February. How are we all doing today? Welcome, welcome. Yeah, Bunny Kitchen, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Grammar Queen, my only Ore, how are you doing today, ma'am? Good evening. Okay, so I'm excited to be back here tonight. I just need to make a few quick changes on the screen. Cool. Yep. Welcome to Raising Girls. Good evening, everyone. How's the year coming? January has already come to a close wrap, and this is 5th of February already. All right. So let me know how's the year is coming for you from your end. Leave me a comment. Let me know where you're joining in from and how the year is going for you. How is business? How are the kids? How is marriage? How is family? Just share with us. Let's know how you're doing. All right. Good evening, good evening, good evening. All right. Let me see. Is my internet working like it should? I expect that it is. All right. I expect that it is. So let me know in the comment section where you're joining in from. Exciting evening we have ahead of us. Tonight we're talking to single parents and sex ed. Single parents giving sex ed. All right. So let me see what's happening on my radar. All right. Good evening. Let me see your comments, please. Leave me a comment. Let me know where you're joining in from. And let me know what you hope to take away tonight as we talk single parents and sex education. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for joining tonight. Wherever you're joining us from, please do leave us a comment. Tell us where you're joining us from. Tell us how your year is coming already. I'm happy to be here tonight. Excited, honored. Been a long day, but worth it all the same. Happy to be here tonight. Auntie Gifty, thank you, Enimian, for your comments, for your likes already. Thank you for tonight. All right, so let me see if I can start a watch party right in the group. Let me see if I can start a watch party inside the Parenting Champions group on Facebook. If you're not in that group, you're missing out seriously. You're missing out great learning going on in there. So let me see how I can start a watch party, put this on the notice, on the announcement, and then possibly, yeah, I think we're good. So on the announcement now. Good evening, everyone. Hey, Vivi. Hey, babes. How you doing? Vani Kitchen says she's doing fine and she's in Abuja. Vani Kitchen, do you make ofe akwu? I've been thinking about ofe akwu the whole of this week. Is it something you make? Vivi, can you imagine what someone will be craving in this 2021? Ofe akwu. I mean, all the Feed Farm people are going to be speaking in tongues right now. Don't worry, sometimes calories don't count, all right? Good evening, everyone, once again. I'm excited to be here. This is Raising Girls Weekly. We do this every Friday evening as much as possible when nothing else interrupts. Like last Friday, I had to be a part of church service, so I had to postpone the class for tonight. Vivi said it is well with me. Yes, it is, darling. It is. I can bet you I've eaten very healthily this week. Don't ask me what I ate and what I didn't, but I can assure you I ate healthy this week. All right. So yeah. So Raising Girls Weekly happens every Friday night, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. This is where we hang out and talk about how we can raise a 10 over 10 girl. This is where we talk about, we look at the things that we're doing around our girls and we ask ourselves, what's the message? What's the value that we're passing on to her? Yeah, all calories belong to Jesus. Whoop, whoop. So yeah, we hang out every Friday, moms, dads, and we just explore our parenting strategies, our parenting models, and the things that we're seeing in our girls and try to get answers to some questions that we have. I hope this light is not pointing too much directly on my face and causing too much of a reflection there. If it is, don't worry, I'll get a hang of it eventually. So every Friday night, we have a date here where we talk about our girls. How can we raise a 10 over 10 girl? How can we raise a girl who lives to be everything God designed her to be? No low self-esteem. She has a great thinking pattern, meaning she thinks in a holistic way. Peer pressure is not something that easily sweeps her off her feet. And while we have this fantasy about this girl, we realize that it is our responsibility as parents to raise her. What we say to her, what we what we make her believe is the right thing to do is eventually what she's going to do. We can't just keep dreaming about having a 10 over 10 girl without deliberately designing the strategies that we want to go about with raising her. So I come out here every Friday night as Africa's #1 raising girls coach, talking to us about raising fab girls from Africa. All right, raising girls who can think, create, design, nurture them to be everything that God designed them to be. And my first off definition of a 10 over 10 girl is a girl who places the right value on God, herself, the people around her, and her environment. She places the right value. She doesn't place friends over God. She doesn't place anything else over God. And she doesn't place friends over her parents. She values the role that God has placed her parents in her life for. She values the role that God has placed her friends in her life for. We kind of, all these things are not fantasy things. They're things that the adults you run into and you see that, oh, they have all of these things jumbled up. But today we're becoming more aware that the future, the kind of adults we want our girls to become, we kind of start building it today. And for me, the foundation of it is making sure that our girls place the right value on God, on themselves, on the people around them, and on their environment. So yes, I'm always excited to be out here every Friday evening. If this is the first time you're joining us, it's very easy to catch the replay of all the past editions. It's super simple. All you need to do is just get on our YouTube channel, get to youtube.com/Raising Girls with Irene Bangwell. Search for Raising Girls with Irene Bangwell, and you would see past episodes where we've talked about, I've done Q&A sessions where we've had questions parents have on doing things about their girls. You'll see episodes where we talked about raising girls with the right mindset, raising girls that lead, and all of those kinds of conversations. So you can catch up on youtube.com/Raising Girls with Irene Bangwell. Today we're going to be talking about something super special. Who is Mambakara? That is the very Beckett queen. I've not seen a handle like that. It just hit home right there. Good evening, Mambakara. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you join us tonight. So my name is Irene Bangwell. If this is the first time you're joining a live video, you're at the right place. Here we talk about raising girls, raising confident girls, raising smart girls, raising girls who know God, who love God, and who are purpose driven. That's what we talk about here every Friday night. All right. So we're talking about raising strong, smart, confident girls using biblical principles. So here, biblical principles 100% all the way, because we found out that that's the foundation with which if you build, it will endure whatever life brings in the future. So I'm excited that you could join me tonight. I'm excited you could join me. I just saw big sister Auntie Gail. Happy to have you here tonight. Thank you for your support. It always means a whole lot to me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate. So if you're just joining in, you can still share with us in the comment section. Let us know where you are joining from. So for some reason, Facebook has I don't know, sometimes Facebook doesn't integrate very well with StreamYard. So people can be leaving comments and questions, but I'm not seeing it on the StreamYard interface. So nonetheless, keep leaving your comment. At some point, I'll open the Facebook app on my phone and be able to bring in the comments and contributions coming from people right on Facebook. And YouTube is usually a bit better. All right. So tonight I want to talk about single parents and the reality that they face with giving their children adequate sex education. So today I'm going to be talking from a child's point of view. Having been raised by a single mom, what I perceived were some of the things that were happening. I might not be completely correct, all right, because I cannot completely see things from her lenses, but I'm going to be sharing from what I would have loved to see as a child, and I'll probably be speaking for the children that single parents are raising. So I'm not here to talk from the single parent's perspective. I'm here to talk from the child of the single parent's perspective. Some of the things that we expected to see, we saw the hesitations, like I saw the hesitations my mom had with doing a number of things. And looking back now, and I hope to, just reach out to single parents and say, no, you don't need to go that route. All right, you need to chill. And these are some of the things that your children need from you. And yes, you are equipped to be able to provide them. So first and foremost, let me define what single parent means to me. Hey, Gillette World, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you to everyone joining in, whether you're joining in from Facebook within our Parenting Champions group, or you're joining in through YouTube. You're still welcome, our Raising Girls channel, and of course, our Instagram audience. Thank you for joining tonight. So I want to start out by defining what a single parent is, or who a single parent is, because there are many contexts for how people become single, but I'm going to really try to narrow into the one that the context with which I'm going to be having tonight's conversation. So first off, a single parent is someone, first and foremost, they find themselves raising their children alone without a partner. So this could be a father raising his children or his child without the aid of their mother. There's also the single mothers, who could be a woman raising a child on her own without the aid of the father of her children. So a single parent is someone who is raising kids but without the support of the other partner. Now, people become single parents for different reasons. Sometimes people lose a partner, leaving them alone to cater for their children. Usually, those are not the people I'm talking about tonight. I'm not talking about people who became widows or widowers and now have to raise the children alone. I really want to talk about people who are raising their kids alone because, number one, maybe they had the child out of wedlock, so it became their primary responsibility. And maybe the other person that is supposed to be a part of that parenting arrangement is not available, is deadbeat, or is totally absent. The other reason some people become single parents is maybe they've gone through a divorce. They're separated, they've gone through a divorce, and sometimes it's really messy. The relationship is all upside down. And here they are, they're raising maybe a young person who they need to impact. So tonight, my context of talking about single parents is not going to be the widows and widowers. I'm talking about people this internet. All right, let me see if I can move to another service provider very quickly. Okay, we're back up. All right, thank God we're back up. All right, so I'm talking about single parents where there's a misunderstanding, there's disagreement, there's some sort of bitterness between them and their partners. Not all divorcees actually are now keeping malice. All right, not all divorcees go back and forth. Not all not all men and women co-parenting are fighting. But I'm going to talk about the person is available. You guys are not in terms. You cannot be together. That's what I'm talking about tonight. So the first thing I want to talk about tonight is that I find that, or in my own time, I felt like, or what I have deduced over time, is that sometimes single parents have tremendous difficulty objectively giving their children sex education, I use that word because they're coming from journeys where there might have been a lot of pain, there might have been a lot of shame, there might have been a lot of drama. And so those things have colored how they see life. So sometimes, rather than giving their children empowering sex education, their experiences color what they give their children. So now, number one, a lot of single parents struggle to give objective sex education. And this is what I mean. Sometimes they give too much information because they're already angry anyway. Some of them may say, well, especially for people that had to go through a divorce or something, they can usually pass on things like, I kept myself, I honored this person, and this person took me for granted, and the relationship is over. So because of that, they feel like, man, I don't care. They no longer care whether the right values are in place or not, because now they get to interpret situations, or life through the lenses of their own experiences. Usually what that happens is that you don't even give your children the opportunity to start out life trying to be the people God designed for them to be. So your experiences become some sort of barrier, some sort of, I don't know how to put it, but because you didn't have it well in your own past relationship, that's where you're starting from with your children. So one of the things I came out to say is that God has a standard he expects for us to pass on to our children regardless what we've been through. And it is better for you to painfully still point your children to the God standard than for you to give them a new set of rules because of your own experiences. I remember one time I was talking to a particular single mom, and I was talking to her about, I don't know what I was talking about. And she goes, let me tell you, Irene, I know someone who was sleeping around. They had a far better marriage than I, who kept myself. I know someone who was a side chick. Still, somebody came out, paid her dowry, and treated her like a queen. So really, I'm not interested in this kid's doing because I'm looking at it doesn't work. I've also heard people say, well, I know someone who kept virginity, but their marriage still didn't work. The problem that I have is that regardless what your reality is, your experiences ought not to be the foundation for your children's life, regardless what your own experience was. Regardless what your experience was. Tonight, that's particularly what I came to talk about. Regardless what your experiences were, your life should not be your own reality should not be the only thing that your children know when it comes to sex and all of that. Because I'm sitting down here to say, God's standards still trump whatever else our experiences are. The Bible says that let God alone be true and all men liars. My interpretation of that scripture has always been that regardless what my reality is, I'm going to still make the word of God true. Regardless what my reality is as a parent, regardless where I failed, regardless what life seemed to look like, I'm still going to point my children to the perfect standard that is Christ. Regardless, I'm going to take my pain to God. Yeah, I'm going to take my pain and my shame to God, but I'm still going to tell my children, look, this is the standard. This is the standard. Yes, Vivian, you're right. We are keeping virginity not for marriage, but for God. Just because someone took you for granted does not mean the standard of God no longer subsists. That's what I came tonight to talk about. And I can bet you that yes, you may be hurting, but you'll be shocked what God could do if you could go past your heart and still point your children to the standard that God has already set for us. Auntie Tony, welcome. Good to see you, ma'am. Thank you for coming out to support me tonight. Thank you. You get the idea? Yes, the man walked out on you, the woman walked out on you. It's not an excuse to turn around and tell your son that women are trash. It's not an excuse for you to turn around and tell your daughters that men are scam, men are useless, men are sham. Allow your children experience life maybe from a fresher point of view than you. So, for instance, I look at myself, I look at my failures as a young person, and instead of saying that that's how the world is, I try to take responsibility. I try to say, perhaps if this was here, I wouldn't have made these mistakes and I wouldn't have landed here. So I try to help my children from the root. So I would say stuff like this process of working on the sex education bundle for girls has blown my brains literally. It's like I've been sitting down and saying, Irene, if you had to do life again, what kind of adult support did you need? What were the questions you needed adults to answer? And let us start from there and raise the next generation, filling the gaps that our parents did not fill for us. So now, because there was something wrong in our own foundation, the outcomes will not be the same. So if you sort out the foundation of your children's lives, they're bound to not have the same reality, make the same mistakes that you did. But that would not happen if you camp where your pains were. If you stand where your pains are only, you won't be able to empower your children. So I've seen where You know, parents are fighting for, I beg, leave me alone. What about me? Didn't I do this? You don't have the whole perspective. So tonight, I want to appeal to you, regardless what your past was, regardless what you gave and didn't get back, I want you to have, and I don't know how to put this, but I want you to worship God with your experiences. I want you to worship God with your past by saying, Father, I don't like where mine ended, but I'm trusting you to give my children a totally different experience from me. And because I want you to give my children a totally different experience, show me how to teach them how they should abide and follow you so that they can navigate this world differently than I did. It's important for us to sit back and say, look, if God says we should honor our bodies, then there's a reward for it, and I want my children to have it. Even if I didn't have it, I want my children to have it. If there's a reward for being honest and not cheating, I want my children to have it, regardless what it did for me. So, dear single parents, knowing that single parents are not the only one that have that are dealing with stuff, there are married people who are angry about the kind of relationship they ended up with, and they just turn around and tell their kids stuff. I know women, for instance, who married a guy and maybe they suffered with him, and then he cheated on them when things got good, and they felt like, man, I just wasted my life with this one, and they just turn around and tell their girls, don't suffer with anybody. I mean, that's not the point. We're children of God. We don't make decisions like that. Teach your children how to see a guy who is not yet there, but they know he's going somewhere, not just by the function of what his business can become, but by the function of his character. And while you're busy trying to protect your children and say, go for the one that is established, have you run into the woman who has a really rich husband, pampers her silly, but very abusive? So really, our experiences are not sufficient enough for it to be the blueprint we hand over to our children. But thank God, because the Bible has given us clear-cut standards that we ought to pass on to our children so that they can have a better reality in their future than we did. It's wrong for you to turn around and tell your children that love doesn't exist, even if you didn't experience it like you thought it would. Give them a fair chance to trust God for it. Look at your experiences holistically. So I have the problem of single parents just overloading their kids with the perspective that they got. Then I have a second problem that I have also seen, the problem of single parents not saying anything at all. Single parents feeling that they shouldn't demand standards from their children because they were a poor example. And this is the second part where I want to come to. I need you to slap the devil with your past. You know how you made mad mistakes in your past, and then you turn around and tell God, Lord, let's turn what my experiences were to insight for raising my children. Let's turn it around. Let it become insight for raising my girls. I know where all the places that I fell. I'm going to think about how I can build support for my children so that they don't fall where I fell. And God will honor it. God will show up for you and God will honor it. All right? We need to get past that time where we allow guilt to overwhelm us. I mean, a very interesting scripture that I love. That scripture that says that no longer will fathers eat grapes and their children's teeth will be set on edge. My interpretation is, no longer will the father fail, and the child will also fall right where the father failed. No longer will the mother fail, and the father will fall right where the daughter will fall right where the mother fell. It has to be better. All right, sis. Okay, let me type it. Oh, very clear. Sorry, sis. Let me just type this very quickly. We're talking about the Single Parents Guide to Sex Education. The Single Parents Guide to Sex Education. Thank you for reminding me. Single Parents Guide to Sex Education, all right? Sex education for girls in particular. Okay, so to sex education. So we have that part where a parent is now feeling guilty. Let's say, let's say my mom now, right? So she's had me now, and we've come to see that she wasn't married. And I get to this thing, oh, you have 4 girls. Oh, thank you so much, very clear. Welcome. This is home for all the girl clan parents. All right, this is home. All right, thank you for joining us. We do this every Friday, 7 to 8 p.m., where we talk about raising our girls into fabulous 10 over 10 girls. Yes, I'm wearing the t-shirt, raising 10 over 10 girls. Yes, welcome, sis. So I'm talking about your single parent. I'm talking about single parents now raising girls. So you can imagine that your daughters are getting older, they're hearing all of these things at church and everything, and it's really making sense that, oh, mommy must have done this premarital sex they're telling us not to do. And now mommy is coming to tell us not to have premarital sex. Sometimes you don't realize that your girls want to hear what your experience was like. But in many cases, you allow the guilt to interrupt what God wants to do. See, if you're a Christian and you're born again, you should have known by now that God specializes in making brilliant messages out of a mess. All right? So it means that God can use that your experience to build stronger girls for you. But not if you allow guilt to overwhelm you. You know, the accuser is always talking on our heads. If we let him prevail, then we'll fail to mine our experiences and pass it on to our children. So you would find a lot of single parents will not uphold standards in their homes. They'll feel like, who am I to be asking for this? All right? I've talked about the other one that is giving wrong lessons because they're still angry at their experiences, so they're giving the wrong kind of sex education. Now I'm talking about the one that is not even giving sex education because he or she feels that they are not worthy of it. Meanwhile, when you sit down with your girls to talk, they understand where you're coming from. They know you have taken that journey. When you tell them not to do something, they know that you must know why you're asking them not to do this. But you're letting the devil mess up your parade. You're letting the devil remind you where you've been and what you've done. Meanwhile, you're supposed to tell him, yeah, had they known, they would not have crucified Jesus, because it took the crucifixion of Jesus for there to be salvation. And Satan was all glorifying himself, thinking he was successful. Meanwhile, it was the pathway that God was going to bring salvation to humanity. What I'm saying in essence is that your failure can be your children's saving grace. Your failure can be the reason your children's friends rally around you to learn. But you have to let go of that guilt. You have to let go of that guilt. You have to let it go. Let that guilt go. Sit down and reflect. Like me, I sit down and think about, I was talking to myself in the bathroom this morning. I said, every part of my teen years is as real to me as anything else. The moment I made the lowest decisions, I know exactly the person I was at that point. The moment I made the highest decisions, I know the person I was at those points. So what I've decided to do was, at each point of that, I know the emotions, I know the feelings, I know the events that were happening around me per time. I know when the peer pressure was hot. I know what the tipping point was. So I kind of sit down and I can mine back my experiences. So now with my girls, I know what way to navigate. So for instance, I know what it means to have the fear of missing out, right? Where things are happening and it looks like not much is happening for you. So it dawns on me that my girls are going to get here at some point. My girls are going to be at a point where they feel this way. So now I'm starting early on to start preparing that there will be times like this. So, and when times like this come, this is what you do. Because I've decided to intercept the devil before he cuts them out. All right? You get the idea? So if you can look back to your past and relive those moments objectively with the lens of who God designed for you to be and what God designed as right and wrong, you would be able to do so much more for your girls instead of shying away completely from talking to them. So you can take your experiences, look at them, and mind them for the good of your children. You get the idea? And then finally, all right, finally, what your children need is an honest, informed parent. I'm going to take that again. What your children need from you is honesty and access to information. Your children need honest and informed parents. I know you laugh about how the next generation is smarter and this. Don't make it the sex education reality in your home. Your children must see you as the go-to person for quality information. Your children must. You must be that parent that your children can count on for quality information, not naive information, not shallow information. Your children should know that if I want objective, practical, quality insight on any issues, I talk to mommy, I talk to daddy about it. You must be that kind of parent. And this one cross cuts, whether you're a single parent, whether you're a married parent, whether you're widowed. I beg of you, for this generation we're parenting, for them to be preserved, their sex education does not lie in their classrooms. It is not online. It is not even in Sunday school. Their sex education is within the lips of their parents. For the next generation to be preserved, their parents have to be their primary sex educators. I repeat myself, for the next generation to be preserved, their sex education does not lie in the lips of their Sunday school teachers. It does not lie in the lips of their teachers. It does not lie in the boot camp. It lies on the lips of their parents. So Barry is asking me, what age do you start to educate them? So for children from the age of 2, there are parts of sex education to start teaching your children. And normally when you say sex education, people think it's intercourse. No, we're not talking about intercourse. Sex education is really about helping your children come to the awareness that I'm a boy, she's a girl, or I'm a girl, he's a boy. Boys and girls are different. And there's a way you relate with people. You start talking about safety. You start talking about boundaries. You start talking about hygiene. Now, if you do it the right way, your children will learn only what they need per time. And because I've been doing this for 13 years, I mean, there's this boot camp I held one time, and a 12-year-old, her father loves her so much, came into that camp. I looked at her and I knew someone was abusing her, and her parents had no clue. She came in with her elder sister. They came into my camp. They've registered. They've gotten into the hostel. She walked past me to get into her room, and I knew that somebody was abusing her. But to her daddy, this is still my innocent 12-year-old. And when that kind of thing happens, it is because we've not started having these conversations when they were younger. It is because we've not started these conversations when they were younger. We didn't grow them into the things we want them to know. So you find that by the time you wake up as a parent and they're 10, 11, 12, they've known beyond what they should know. They've done beyond what they should have done. You're not beginning to start. I don't know how to put this, but we have created a new generation of pain and brokenness and abuse and all the psychological traumas that it comes with. Just because we think that they should go to school, they will teach them in integrated science. Did you know that integrated science doesn't teach sex education? It teaches reproduction. It's part of the system. It doesn't tell them what is right, what is wrong. It just tells them this. So I repeat, yes, Rachel was pointing, yes. I said for the next generation to be preserved, their sex education must come from the lips of their parents. So if you're a single parent and guilt wants to overwhelm you, let me tell you, the enemy is warring at you. He wants to make sure you cannot talk, so that your children will go on Google to find out stuff, so that your children will come on Instagram to find out stuff. And there's a lot of sick people online, sick people who have no regards of God. And many of them are influencers. They have the blue tick. They have the blue tick. They have the blue tick because they are popular. Doesn't mean they're making sense, but they have the blue tick, for God's sake. And your children will worship them as if every word that comes out of their mouth is special. That is why it is the heartbeat of God right now for many more parents to know exactly how to have sex education conversations in their home. And someone say, Irene, is sex really a big deal? I say, you're kidding me. Do you not know that what we do with ourselves in terms of sex shows to a large extent how other areas of our lives are working? Did you not know? I mean, I came across this quote 2 years ago. Random newsletter sent to me, written by a guy called Paul Boyce. He said that God's call to purity is not so that he will lord over us, but so that we will not be ruled over by our emotions. Did you know that? That's the problem. When we're talking to children and young people, we make it look as if there's a God on the throne that is saying, don't have fun so that you can worship me. And it's not so. It's not so at all. What we do around sex is one of the very first pointers to show that our lives are in control, that we have control of our lives. It's the one place we can say we have control of our lives. I mean, I'm looking at so many children, they come to my camps, they're talking nonsense Nonsense they believe, nonsense they're acting on, nonsense they're arguing about. And the first thing that comes to my head is, where are their parents? So I've been doing this for 13 years, pastoring them, doing boot camps for them, doing school tours, running leadership clubs. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted with meeting intelligent girls who think that life is over if a boy is not asking them out. And I'm also tired of the medical and psychological angles saying, oh, it's a natural thing for them to feel that way. They'll get over it. Have you met teenagers who didn't get over it? They are now 40 years old, but they're still teenagers. They can't keep family together. They can't keep their legs together. They can't organize. They can't plan. They sleep with anything sleepable. Have you met people like that? So yes, to all the psychological conversations, that is a natural thing, this euphoria will pass. I bet you, I know too many people that the euphoria didn't pass. And then because as a child of God, we don't draw insight for our living from the world. We go back to the word to draw insight. That's why this year, my priority was to design a tool that helps parents know exactly what to say per time. All right? Sit down and say, look, take this tool. I'm working on, a bundle, sex education bundle for girls. And what's in that book has blown my mind. I look at my two daughters and I'm like, God is mindful of you. Because if he can take me through this journey, it's because he wants to preserve you. You guys matter that much to him. So this year, I sat down and designed a sex education for girls bundle. That bundle takes parents on a journey that helps you know what your children need to know per age, how you need to say it, when you need to say it, how to create an atmosphere in your home that is enabling for your children to make the right decisions when it comes to sex. And someone said, why are you writing it for girls? I said, rule number one, the person that bears the highest consequences when there's immorality is a girl. The person that takes the highest risk. I mean, a few days ago, I came across a statistic that says annually, about 5,500 Nigerian teenagers die of pregnancy-related stuff. Boys don't die because they get girls pregnant, do they? So because I know girls are at high risk, we need to go back home. If God has given you the privilege to give birth to a girl, then it is high time that you knew how to raise that girl into the person that God designed her to be. She's not a penis pocket where boys come and go, and she feels good because of how she made that boy feel. We no longer have excuses as parents. When we're younger, our parents gave us shabby stuff. Not complete information, if at all there was any information. But you know, when they were giving you that wrong information, you made so many mistakes. Then imagine a world where your child doesn't need to leave home to receive junk. They are creating WhatsApp groups for teenage girls to do all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of sexting where girls are the leading demography sending their nude pictures to boys. Boys are using it to blackmail their families. I mean, there's so much. Girls can get online and be hooked on anything at any time, right? I don't even want to talk about porn. There's so much at the faces of your children. You cannot afford to be quiet. That's why I repeat that for the next generation, this generation we're raising, for them to be preserved, their sex education cannot come from their school, from the children's schools, cannot come from Sunday school, cannot come from summer camps. They have to come up from the lips of their parents. And I've made it really easy for parents. I've designed a toolkit called the Body Smart Bundle for Girls or Sex Education Bundle for Girls, where parents pick a book. There's a book titled How to Talk with Your Girls About Sex. back to back to back biblical principles. And the other thing is that people think that biblical principles are boring. They're not. In my experience writing this book, they're not boring in any way. There's a way to present it, there's a way to make it fun. There's a place for science, and there's a place for Bible principles presented in the most fun way and in the most enabling way. It comes with the grace to enable your children make the right decisions that they need to make the time. Welcome, Duchess Nolly. Happy to have you. We have a daddy in the house. I'm saying him. Is Stephanus Gideon. Thank you for joining us tonight. My Facebook people, thank you. YouTube, thank you so much for still hanging out here. So I've designed this tool. It's a super amazing. There's a book. It's titled How to Talk with Your Girls About Sex. It contains so many things. Questions that teenage girls answer, questions that little girls answer, and how to ask and how to answer them. It contains what to say to children of different ages. We've grouped 3 to 5 year olds, 6 to 8 year olds, 9 to 11, 12 to 14, and 15 years old and up. And we help you see the phase your children are in. We help you understand what they're dealing with the age, what the priority is. Because, for instance, the priority for your 6 to 8 year old is not the same priority for your 14-year-old. All right? Your 6 to 8 year old has a different frequency of sex education from your 14-year-old. So we help you break it down. Yes, darling. Welcome, sis. So we help you break it down. But we didn't just stop there. We also designed tools for your kids, all right? For your girls. We designed doodle books like coloring books where your girls get to sit down and think about their lives, all right? They get to see who God designed for them to be and what the future can be if they make the right decisions, you know? We help them think through their lives, because one of the things we always fail to do when we're giving sex education is that we don't give our girls the opportunity to meditate on what we are saying, to think about what we are saying, to think far. We are too much in a hurry to say, don't shame me. We're too much into what their actions will do to our own reputation without realizing that they're in a battlefield. Your kids are in a war zone. Once they hit puberty with 21st century internet, it's like World War II. So you can't add to the pressure by making it about you, the parent. You have to make it about your girl and who God wants her to be. So she sees that you and her are fighting on the same side. So in this book, I show you how to position as a support system that your daughter trusts. And I can promise you, it works even if your relationship was already sour. It works. There's a break, there's a starting point where you say, baby, I missed it. I haven't done it right the whole time. And this is where we start from. And you build trust again. You wait the period when she doesn't trust you enough. You wait it out. You end the trust. Then the doodle book helps your girls think for themselves and reflect and look at Bible scriptures differently in the light of who God wanted them to see themselves are. Sorry about that. Okay, so I said we finally, in the bundle, we now have what if cards. What if cards are conversation cards. They have the parents card and they have the children's cards. So let me give you a sneak peek. So in each pack of what if cards, let's say the pack for 3 to 5 years old, 5-year-olds, there's a mommy and daddy card, and then there's a child's card. The child has the question, the parents have the answer. But the whole idea is let them get talking. Because one of the things we want to do is normalize sex conversations at home. Let me say this. If every time they talk about sex in your home, your children giggle, they know nothing about sex. And probably all they know is wrong information and they're going to work with it. So one of my goals is to so normalize sex education. I mean, I have a 9-year-old that talks to me about sex without giggling. It's a normalized conversation. I mean, yesterday we're driving home from school and she told me, Mommy, they taught us about commercial sex workers. And she asked me, what happens to them? Isn't that a wrong thing to do? I said, yeah, it is a wrong thing to do. The law says this about it. She now said, so when they're caught, does the police arrest them? Do they take their money from them? I said, I'm not sure they're supposed to take the monies from them, but maybe finding an alternative way of creating wealth helps. We had this conversation without anybody getting tickled, all right? There's no kiki is foolishness. It means there's information that is not clear. So we've heard only one side of it, but we've not heard the other side. So imagine that all your children have heard is the pleasure around sex, but they've not heard about the responsibility. They've not heard about the high incidence of perinatal mortality amongst teenage girls. They've not heard about STDs. They have a lot of myth. They have a lot of excitement. They think like adults don't want them to have fun. So they're laughing nonsense. So if your kids are giggling, it means there's a lot of misinformation in the air. Let's normalize it, because Satan is wicked and he's selling lies to them every day. He's selling mad pleasure. He's selling what they see in porn to them. He's not telling them the other back end. I repeat, for the next generation to be preserved, their sex education does not lie in the lips of their school teachers or their Sunday school teachers or the boot camps they go to. Their sex education lies in the lips of their parents. And if I were you, I'll do myself a quick favor. I'll grab the Body Smart Girl bundle. That's what Facebook has made me call my product to, Body Smart Girl bundle. Essentially, sex education bundle for girls. Yes, we've had issues with Facebook because the name of the product has sex in it and they will not allow you to promote anything that has sex. You can't boost the post. You can't do anything. So we've had to rename the bundle. So sex education bundle for girls is now like the tagline, but we're going to call it Body Smart bundle because we assume that there'll be those kind of inhibitions all over the place. You can't imagine the 21st century where getting things on nudity and porn is so frequent. We still have regulations around even using the word in the right context. So yes, if I were you, I'll grab this bundle. Right now, as at tonight, that bundle is going for 11,500 naira. But that 11,500 naira is only for 300 people. We just have that slot for 300 people. And you ask me what's in the bundle. There are 11 products in that bundle. There's one parenting book, 5 girl books, 5 packs of conversation cards. And someone asked me, Irene, I have a 10-year-old. Do I just get the bundle and pick that off the 10-year-old alone? No, ma'am. Chances are that there are many things you may have missed out when they were 3, when they were 6. So when you get the bundle, your baby girl should start playing with it from the get-go. All right? It gives you allowability, some time for you people to actually start building the conversation. So the people that are most blessed are the people that actually have younger kids. But if your kids are already midway, when you get the whole bundle, suck it up as if you're starting from the scratch with your girls. The doodle book is really fun. It's really interesting. There's a lot of coloring, there are puzzles, because we're trying to make it something that they think about and meditate on, something really subconscious, all right? So this is value packed. I guarantee you that this is value packed. So if you're listening to me right now and you're really interested, you want to lay your hands and take advantage, be among the 300 people that are taking advantage of this bundle at 11.5, which, by the way, we think is actually 50% or a little less than 50% of the value. We've put the true value of that bundle at 25,000 naira. So if we're giving it at 11,500, picture it. That's really discounted. I know that as the month goes on and on and on, it's going to get higher. And this is actually pre-order window. So it's a good time for you to lay your hands on the bundle right now. We're launching on Easter Monday. We're launching the books on Easter Monday, and it's going to be an exciting time. We're going to have a mini conference in the Parenting Champions with Irene Bangor community on Facebook. And we're just going to go through and just listen to different people's stories, going from brokenness to wholeness. You know, I want to end by saying that for many of us, we had to be broken so that our children will be whole. So don't waste your pain. Don't waste your mistakes. At the same time, don't build a new theology. Don't build a new biblical rule that says people have to be broken to be whole. It's not God's ideal, it's not God's perfect picture. God is just merciful that he can use anything. But let's not put our children through that risk, because it's not everybody that made a mess that became a message. It's not everybody's mistake that became inspirational. All right. There's no need to gamble with our children's lives. Let's take them right back to where and how God intended for it to be. It's possible to be a girl who is chaste. It's possible for a girl to still marry as a virgin. And let me tell you, when a girl keeps her virginity, she doesn't keep it for a man, all right? When a man keeps his virginity, he doesn't keep it for a girl. He keeps it to honor the God that created him. But much more than honor, God uses that journey to teach mastery of life, mastery of purpose, helps our children to learn focus in life. And man, if your child goes through that journey and gets to the other end, you've raised a fine human being. In your old age, you'll be wondering that were you worthy of such a person? And tonight I came to tell you that you're worthy of a child who is chaste. You're worthy of a child who is responsible. You're worthy of a child who is focused on being who God designed for them to be. And let me also say, even if your child has experimented already, you can be the bridge to their wholeness. I want you to own this. Take it personal. I know you're scared of what could happen. I know you don't want to be attached to the outcome, but I want you to trust God on this journey and start the healing with your child. And you'd be amazed what God can still do. The good thing is that you are still a part of your child's life in spite of the things they've already done. And you can start all over again. You can help them start all over again. Start a brand new journey to the person that God designed for them to be. So if you're listening to me right now, you'd like to get the Body Smart Girl bundle, send me a DM. In the meantime, you can call my line, send WhatsApp, send me a DM or send me WhatsApp. To send me WhatsApp is pretty simple. All you need to do is send a WhatsApp to 090-3333-8510. 090-3333-8510. You can also DM me on Instagram, raisinggirls.ng. On Facebook, my personal profile is Sienawan Irene Bangwell. Just look for me. In fact, if you put Bangwell, it's so easy to find. Irene Bangwell any day. Just send me a DM and we're going to do this together. Let me tell you, by the time we hit heaven, Satan should be sweating that there was a generation that came and told him that we are more than our urges. And we are going to live the fullness of what God designed for us to do. And that's what you're doing for your children right now. Regardless where you failed, you're turning around and telling your children, I dropped the ball, but I'm going to work with you to hold this ball to the finish line. I'm going to make sure the devil doesn't make a mess of your own reality. So I have an interesting comment here. He said, yes, my trust is key. We were made to believe that sex is sacred and should not be discussed with kids and teens. Even youth are still trapped in the lies, and most of them are parents now. Keep the gospel moving. We need to save the next generation of girls. Parents, not teachers, should take the lead. Yes, I've told you, I've said it, I'm going to say it again. For the next generation to be preserved, their sex education does not lie in the lips of their school teachers. It does not lie in the lips of their Sunday school teachers. It lies within the lips of their parents. And I've done the hard work for you. I've designed a tool that helps you know God's mind for your kids and how to bridge that divide. Ogbonna has said something very strategic. The devil wants it to be taboo topic so that he can sneak in information. I'm asking you to turn on the light. Normalize the conversation. Talk about it the way you talk about food in your home, but make sure that you're a source of quality information. And to help you get started on this amazing journey to raising God girls 100%, 10 over 10, living the fullness of what God designed for them to do, I've designed an amazing tool called the Body Smart Girl Bundle. Your girl has to be smart about honoring her body as the temple of the Holy Spirit, right? And she has to do it excitingly. She has to do it seeing God's picture. So I've given you a tool to get that conversation started, right? But I've given you a tool that is going to take you the entire journey. It's going to open your mind. You yourself, you are going to find your own healing on this journey. So tonight is a good night to send me that DM, send me WhatsApp. The number to WhatsApp me is 090-3333-8510. WhatsApp me, send me a DM, tell me what you want, all right? And whatever we do, we need to get the next generation of God girls coming, all right? And we need to make God funky, interesting, attractive. We need to raise girls who are proud to be virgins. People are demonizing being a virgin, demonizing being chaste, demonizing self-control. That's because we've been shutting up for too long. So I'm excited that God has taken me on this journey to get to the next generation through their parents. I can tell you, since I started doing this project, life has a totally different meaning for me. The excitement that I have about living purposefully is different. Don't miss this opportunity. Remember, for us to preserve the next generation, their sex education does not lie in the lips of their school teachers or their Sunday school teachers. It lies within the lips of their parents. And God has gone ahead to provide a tool that you can use. I mean, my brains, I was telling my friend Vivian the other day, my brains are blowing. Like I'm looking at the scripture and he's having a totally different experience because God is committed to our girls. And I hope you'll be willing to partner with him. So make sure you DM me. I'm going to be drawing the curtains right here. Thanking everyone that joined in. Aya or Rachel, you know I love you. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you, the newest married man on the block, Obunaya. Thank you for coming and sharing with us your thoughts. Thank you to everyone who joined on Instagram. Quite a number of people. Worry Mom, you just they come. And Worry no they carry last. And you just they come. So we have Worry Mom here. We have ST Honor. Hey sis. We have Talking Mom Stress, my one and only sweet sister, giving us all the humor on Instagram. We have Duchess Nolly. We had the Grammar Queen. Berry Claire was here. Quite a number of mothers showed up today. I want to thank every one of you for coming out. And whatever you do, please share this video with your friend. Share the link. Now, if you get on YouTube, you'll be able to see the link. If you're watching on Instagram, I'm going to put this on my IGTV in a moment. Please tag as many friends as possible. We need to raise an army of parents willing to raise God girls, because it's possible. The world is continually telling us that the girls have to be loose. We have to say, nah, God made her. You don't get to tell me what to do with her. She has value. I'm going to raise her to think like someone who has value. So please share this video with your friends, with your loved ones. If you're watching Inside Parenting Champions group on Facebook, add as many friends as possible. Tag them on this video. Let them come watch it. Get on YouTube as well. Share links on your WhatsApp status. Let's get as many parents as possible to watch this. Let me end by saying that it would be beautiful if your daughter was chaste, 100% chaste. It would be something for you to be proud about. But if she's the only chaste girl in the neighborhood, it will be more difficult for her. So we have to commonize chastity. So we need to get as many parents on board as possible so that our daughters have who to lean on, who to brainstorm with, people that share the same values as them. It will be very difficult for only our girls. How many of us are watching me now? Maybe 10, 20 of us. It will be difficult if we haven't, even if all of us had four children, four daughters, 80 girls in a sea of billions. So the whole idea is raise your girls and make sure another parent is raising her girls right, so that our girls have a community where they're growing up with these values that God designed for them. I want to thank every one of you that is going to help me tag this, all right? Tag your friends everywhere, share these links, and know something. I value your time, and I'm grateful that you showed up tonight. So guess what? We see you again next week, Friday. But don't wait until Friday to book your bundle. Remember, 11.5 is only for the next 300 people. Quite a number of people took advantage of the early bird, which was 9,000 naira. Can you believe? So it keeps going up because it's value. And you know something the Bible says that I love? He says, buy the truth and sell it not. I look forward to seeing you next week, Friday. But most importantly, I look forward to chatting with you in my DM and chatting with the friends that you're going to talk about this product with. I look forward to talking to every one of you, whether it's on WhatsApp or inside my DM. But whatever you do, make sure that someone you care about sees this video. Good night. God bless you. Thank you for coming.